Alright, we're going to play a little bit with Excel and some formatting. Again, we know our Excel, enter, we'll do a blank doc. For me, I'm always annoyed if anything's in cell A1, so I'm a B2 kind of guy. So if you see me doing that, that's just because it annoys me to be stuck in the corner. Anyway, what is Excel? It is a big monster spreadsheet, right? But what does that mean? Well, these cells have more functions than just me being able to type in it or make a silly list, right? You can set this to be a specific format, you can put in formulas, you can run logic, you can run calculations, you can get even more crazy. The tab's not there, but you can have a developer tab. You can do, if you like to write VB, you can write scripts and macros in VB and have it do all kinds of things according to the internet. On and on and on. So Excel is ridiculously powerful. So let's just go over some quick things. We know that if I put in some numbers, say I wanted to go to 100, you can either manually type those in, or you can use the autofill feature. The autofill feature is awesome. You have to use it a ton. Basically, you select two things just so Excel kind of has an idea what's going on, like 5, 6, so it knows the difference is 1. So it kind of knows I'm counting by 1, and if I grab this little corner, this little square on the corner and pull down, he will auto count for me. So I didn't have to type those. It's pretty sweet. The other thing that's nice is, like I said, it does know, or it does try to be intelligent. 2, 4, 6. Whoops. Just kidding. I can count 2, 4, 6. Again, if I do these two, I could either drag this, right? See, it's going by 2s, but the nice thing is it's sort of aware of its adjacent column, and if I double click it, it will autofill to the bottom of this one. So if I go double click, boom, there it is, right? So you could do this again by 10s. So last 2, boom, right? So that's pretty cool. So you can do lists, things like that. You can do dates. Say it was, let's say we were from 1990, 1991, right? Double, boom, all the way to 2023, right? Things like that. So it's good at sort of auto-populating lists for you and matching up columns of things. So you set up one column with a certain length, and you can do a bunch of things and set them up all to match pretty quickly. Now, as you know, I'm going to delete these. People do calculations with these all the time, right? So if I put in a number, 5, Excel makes some assumptions based on what you put in. So if it puts in 5, it thinks, hey, it's just a general number, I'm going to use it as such. If I put in list 1, it knows I have text, so now it's changed the cell type to text, even though you can't tell, it's changed. If I put in like 3:45 p.m. now it thinks it's a time. It actually changed it to a time. On and on and on. It tries to auto set the cell to certain things, and that's because of formatting changes. So we're going to walk over some of those, but let me do something really quick. So to do any kind of calculations, first I want you to know that you can do some really quick stuff. Like if I just wanted to know, if I'm using this to track maybe my bills, and these were all dollar amounts, and see, here's formatting again, right? If I click this, now these are dollars. So I highlight these, and I wanted to know what's the average of this, what's the sum of all this. You can do that at a glance. Down here, it's always doing it for you. It's always taking the average. It's always taking the count, so the number of them. I selected 10 things, and it's always taking the sum. So that's really handy to always look at. You can use it to check things. It's pretty sweet. You can do all these, right? The sum is 165. I have 20 things selected. Average is 825. So that's one cool thing. Another thing is if I wanted to say add these, you start in the cell equals. That tells it, hey, I'm going to start an equation, right? So once you hit that, now you can just click the cell, click this guy. So now it says B2, so it's referencing whatever's in here. I can hit plus, and I can hit C2. So now it's simply just adding, right? Enter, and now oink, it added. And remember that really cool thing? So say we wanted to add these two columns, and I don't want to manually type that freaking equation each time, right? Use this thing, double click, boom. So now, if you notice, that equation is in everyone, and it sort of walked like you would think it walked. Like this is a row of interest, a row where we're sort of highlighting. So the next row is also a row we're highlighting, or a row of interest, right? So the equation should change, right? So this is B2, C2. I would expect this one below to be B3, C3. Oops. So click off B3, C3, right? B4, C4. 5, 5, 6, 6. 31, 31, right? So it did it for us. That's pretty sweet. So it takes a little bit of time, but you can start to learn things like sum that will add up a bunch of things. You can learn average, right? If you have an idea of what it might be, you can just type equals and start typing something, and you can see these functions. You can also see them, which I have never done this, so forgive me, this takes a little bit of time. Formula is probably, hey, insert function. And you can go through this and say, hey, I want to count something, or I want to do the sign of something, or what have you. So you can do them that way too. And notice how it's putting it in equals, and if I do sign, it does the sign of what? It's saying, oh, please select it for me. So you would go like this, and I would say, sign of that, and it's inserting it for me. So it's sort of like a helper. I don't know that it's very helpful, but now I'm taking the sign of that, of this guy, of C15. Sign of 28 is 0.270906, da 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 da. Okay, enough of that jargon. That's enough to get you simple equals, adding, minus, maybe percentage, things like that. So I'm going to delete. I want to show some time formatting things. So when I type a 1, 2, when I type list A, list B, when I type 120, 2015, 121, 2015. I want to show you. So I'm gonna, and it probably knows this too, does it? Oh, it doesn't. So some things Excel's not smart enough to know, right? Like those lists, if you notice, it didn't copy those down. It just repeated because it can't make enough assumptions to say what it is. So if you go right-click, Format Cell, which I never do. I mean, I do go to this menu, but I never use the right-click. I always hit Control-1 because I'm a shortcuts guy. So yeah, it's the exact same thing. Or right-click, Format Cells. Anyway, you go there. Look, this is a general, right? It auto-selected general. I go to this one. General. I go to this one. Date. See, it's auto-selected date. Should, if I have a lot of text, like a sentence, it should select, I would think, text. It's not. Whatever the case, doesn't matter. So just, that's proof, right, that it's auto-selecting things. Now, the time is literally the number of seconds from, like, January 1st, 1970. So a way to prove that, I'm going to say, and we're coming up on 10 minutes actually, so let's pick it up on the next run.